The power of the administration that is in does matter. Now, I say all of this because now the Biden administration's added former Democrat Tulsi Gabbard to a watch list.
How dare you?
Just to inconvenience her, just to punish her for not being a good little member and being part of the party like she was told to. She ran for the Democrat nomination in 2020. She completely buried Kamala Harris. And after that, Kamala was done. So she already got the ire of many on the left. And then the Democratic Party kind of, went after her for it. And the funny thing is, she still turned around. She ended her presidential candidacy. She still turned around and endorsed Joe Biden. She very much was a leftist. She was in the party. She was a party supporter. But since leaving, she said, I'm done. I'm out. I quit. And she got out of politics. And now she's changed her positions on baby deletion, foreign policy, the rights of the LGBT, border security. She's been on Fox News as a fill-in host for Tucker Carlson. And then she said, I'm independent. I don't want to be associated with the Democratic Party anymore. I'm independent. She changed her mind on the Second Amendment. She's changed her mind on a lot of things. And you know something, when somebody changes their minds and they say, you know what, I was wrong on that. When I was wrong on that. I completely changed my mind. It is very easy and probably smart to say, okay, I'm going to doubt you. You better prove me wrong. But over the last year or two, if you listen to Tulsi on like the Joe Rogan podcast and Tucker Carlson and some of these others, she has definitely changed her mind on things. Well, now.
So what exactly?
Now the Democrats are coming after her. So Tulsi Gabbard posted this today, August 10th, 9 a.m. this morning. She said, retaliation. A few weeks ago, I had the audacity to tell the truth that Kamala Harris would essentially be a mouthpiece and a puppet of the military-industrial complex and national security state. The very next day, July 23rd, they retaliated. Sadly, this is what we can expect from the Harris administration, as well as the Biden and all the rest of them. They put her on a watch list. I'm going to pop this up to full screen, and you guys can watch along. This is about a 4.5-minute interview, but I think this is important. Not because of what they did to Tulsi. I mean, it's important, but this tells you how this Democrat Party operates. That if you are not in line with what they want, if you are not going to be supportive of the machine, if you come out and speak against it, they will make your life horrible. They will make it a living nightmare to punish you. And the same thing, if you think about it, the same thing that's happening in the UK right now with their government. You're on one side, we ignore what you're doing. You're on the other side, we're going to come after you for mean tweets. This is the totalitarian / authoritarian / whatever you want to call it, that happens when the government no longer fear the people that it represents. And instead, they look at you as something to be used and manipulated for their furtherance and their gain. I'm going to play this so you guys can kind of check it out here.
So what exactly did Tulsi Gabbard do to get added to the terror watch list? It came the day after she criticized the Biden administration right here on The Angle.
Our foreign policy decisions are being made by unelected people in the military-industrial complex who are profiting from us being in a constant state of war, and the national security state that has more power to undermine our freedoms and liberties when we are in a state of war. Kamala Harris does not have the strength to stand up to the military-industrial complex.
Okay, that's wild. Joining me now, Tulsi Gabbard, former U.S. Congresswoman, Fox News contributor. Tulsi, Now, you serve this country in uniform, even getting deployed to Iraq. Thank you for going, unlike Tim Walz. And now you're being surveilled. I mean, it's a form of surveillance or hassling and intrusion upon your freedom to move by the government. What is this? I mean, I didn't believe it really when I first heard about it. I said, oh, that can't be. But how does this make you feel?
Laura, this is a clear act of political retaliation. There's no other way to put it. You laid out the sequence of events the very next day after my conversation with you on the air, warning the American people about how dangerous a Kamala Harris presidency would be. I was placed on this domestic watch list, which is called the Quiet Skies list under the Department of Homeland Security. The clear pain and real visceral hurt that comes from this is, as you mentioned, like many Americans, I enlisted because of this on 9/11 to go after the Islamists who attacked us on that day, and to now have my own government now turn around and put me on a domestic watch list. It hits to the core and is the ultimate sense of betrayal. But we look at why they are doing this.
I got to pause here just for a second. The reason why I think Tulsi is now a voice you can listen to is that, like I said, she was part of the left. She supported Bernie Sanders. She supported Joe Biden. She endorsed them. And for the damage she did to Kamala Harris's campaign, she was mercilessly castigated out, attacked, hated on by the administrations. Now that she's out of politics and she said, you know what, I'm an independent. She's not in Congress. She's not in Senate. She's not a person in government anymore. I think that does lead her some credence to an arc of redemption for her. Many people will disagree, but look, you know, one of the things that's so worrisome on the left is that if you say the wrong thing at any point in time, you're out. You're out. They will come after you. They will destroy your career. They will do everything they can to harm you. Well, at some point, we have to be willing to say, okay, I've seen her at a range using a long-distance hole puncher, and I've seen her turn around and say, you know what, I was wrong on this. We do need the Second Amendment. We do need the First Amendment. I've changed my mind on all these things, and she said it on podcasts and on video, and she's out of the government. She's not running for anything. So what's the point of her saying I've changed my positions? It's not like she's running to be a Republican of something or other. She's just saying, you know, I was wrong on this. So that's why I say it's okay to give people a small act of forgiveness and or a redemption arc if they're going to be more supportive of the things that we value.
It has a chilling effect. It sends a warning both to me and to anyone else who even thinks about daring to criticize our own government, which is a guaranteed protected right under the First Amendment, that we will be subject to a violation of our Fourth Amendment right to privacy through this kind of surveillance. And that's the biggest stress that's been caused by this entire situation, Laura, is now forever. I will always be looking over my shoulder, wondering if and how our government in any of these different agencies is surveilling me, watching me. Are they reading my text messages? Are they listening to my phone calls?
Yeah, I was going to say yes, yes, and yes. That's what I would guess, at least. Now, in a letter from whistleblower attorney Tristan Levitt, he writes that the special mission coverage in Ms. Gabbard's case reportedly involves 2 explosive detection canine teams, 1 transportation security analyst in explosives, 1 plainclothes TSA supervisor, and 3 federal air marshals on every flight Ms. Gabbard boards. I mean, I'm not laughing, Tulsi, because this is literally like the Soviet Union, China today, North Korea, any totalitarian regime. But Donald Trump's a totalitarian, right? He's the dictator in waiting. Okay.
Yeah, this is just, and this is what we know about, and we know about it because of these brave whistleblowers from the Air Marshal Service who are coming forward. What I'm questioning is what are the things that are happening in our government that I don't know about? How long have they been surveilling me? This is just a recent occurrence. I would not be surprised to know that there are other government agencies who are also being weaponized against political opponents, those who dare to challenge this regime, the Biden-Harris administration. And that's really what it comes down to and why they have to be stopped. We are guaranteed the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I cannot be free. And you pointed to this. Yes, exactly. I cannot be free so long as my government is breathing down my neck and watching my every move.
Well, we got to go, but we're going to be following this closely, demanding that this be completely withdrawn, and whoever is responsible for this decision, and there's one person who made the decision, should be fired immediately. But this should never, ever happen in the United States of America.
To anyone.
Tulsi, no, to anybody.
Thank you.
I think this is the tip of the iceberg, and I know Donald Trump is not surprised by any of this. Tulsi, thank you very much.
One thing that I had forgotten about, and just while I was watching this interview, it reminded me of, it was Hillary Clinton coming out and saying Tulsi Gabbard was an asset of Russia. She was a Russian asset or a Russian agent. I remember Hillary Clinton coming out and saying that. Yeah, here it is from CNN. Hillary Clinton suggests Russians are hello there. Tulsi Gabbard for third-party run. She said some other things too, but this is the first one that, yeah, right here. Comments appear directed at the rep being cozy with Russia in the past. She said, I'm not making any predictions, but I think they've got their eye on somebody who's currently in the Democratic primary. They're hello there. To be the third-party candidate. For those of you on YouTube, because I can't say the word hello there on YouTube, they're preparing her to be the third-party candidate, Clinton said, speaking on a podcast with former Obama advisor David Plouffe. She's the favorite of the Russians. See, when you start that kind of talk, you're instigating trouble. On purpose. On purpose. And this is the crap and so when people talk about the deep state, too many times people are, deep state doesn't exist. Is Obama retired just taking a nap somewhere? No, he's still very active. As a matter of fact, he was shown going to other countries, talking to representatives, and he's not even in office anymore. He's not even supposedly in the government. Why is Hillary still sniffing around and being involved in things? Who else is still? Are there former three-letter agencies or something that are still involved with this stuff? Those are the people, when people talk about the deep state, these unelected people, that's part of the people that they're talking about. Double standard. This is from Just the News. Double standard. Tulsi Gabbard on watch list, while an actual real suspect let go to plan a. This is the story. I went, wait a minute. And these are the things you don't find on mainstream news a lot. They say, while the Biden administration placed former Rep. Tulsi Gabbard on a watch list, the FBI released into the U.S. on special parole the Pakistani man who sought to plan the deletion attempt of Donald Trump and other politicians. So Tulsi's on a list, but the FBI let in to plan to take out Donald Trump. According to several whistleblowers, Gabbard, military officer and former Hawaii congresswoman, was placed on this list, the Quiet Skies. But they say down here, while the government surveilled Tulsi, the FBI allowed Asif Raza, merchant, to enter the U.S. in April with special permission known as significant public benefit parole, even though he was flagged on a watch list and recently traveled to Iran, according to government documents reviewed and reported on by Just the News. Merchant would later go on to organize the deletion of a plot attempt against U.S. politicians, though he ended up trying to recruit undercover law enforcement as the additional help, leading to his arrest shortly before his attempt to leave the country. House Oversight Committee member Glenn Grothman, a Wisconsin Republican, said the FBI tactic to let Merchant enter the country to gather evidence on him created a dangerous situation. yeah, you can say, okay, well, they let him in so we could see who he contacted and maybe we could find more people, and we used him as bait. Is this the person that they said, oh, we found there's an Iranian that was planning something on Trump? Maybe. I don't know. And the problem we have right now is you can't trust anybody in the government anymore. Very few. There are some people I actually trust. You might think I'm crazy, but there's a couple people. I mean, I could count them on probably one hand, maybe on two hands out of all the government. And Rep. Burchett, who's my representative here in Tennessee, Tim Burchett, he says, Rep. Burchett demands answers from TSA about Tulsi Gabbard on the Quiet Skies watch list. From Knoxville, Tennessee. Go Knoxville. Today, U.S. Congressman Tim Burchett, Tennessee 02, wrote to Transportation Secretary Administrator David P. Pekoski regarding a report that former president candidate Tulsi Gabbard was placed on a suspected watch list. He said, I've been told Ms. Gabbard has been placed on a Transportation Security Administration watch list under the program known as Quiet Skies. I find this profoundly troubling for a number of reasons, said Rep. Burchett in this letter. He requested a meeting with Mr. Pekoski. Such an interesting name. Sorry, I've never seen that one before. Mr. Pekoski on whether, let me try that again. Rep. Burchett requested a meeting with Mr. Pekoski or whoever is in charge of the Quiet Skies program to discuss this report. On August 4th, 2024, it was reported whistleblowers with the Federal Air Marshal Service came forward about Tulsi Gabbard. We know that stuff. And then Mr. Burchett has a letter that you can link to. So it is being looked into, but we are in such a dangerous is really the only word I can use, because if you were to turn around and say to me, what about the Trump administration? Do you think everything's fine there? No, I'm sure it's not completely fine. They're government. What about whoever he assigns to DOJ or FBI? No, I don't trust any of them anymore. I mean, who was it? I think it was Reagan. He said the scariest words you can ever hear from, or the worst words you can ever hear from the government is, hi, I'm from the government. I'm here to help. That's kind of where we are. That's where we are. That's where I really feel. So what do you do when you no longer trust your own government? Well, you don't certainly vote for the ones that keep saying they're going to add more people to lists and lean on you even harder. I don't know if going the other way really helps. It's kind of like, voting for who's going to, voting. It's like the difference between a sheep voting for a lion and a wolf. That's the old trope to it. But at this point, it really does feel like it. And even if we do go ahead and let's say we get Trump or somebody else that really would push back against that, they'll fight him with everything they had, just like they did last time, trying to impeach him and trying to shut him down and try to drag him through dirt. Even Republicans last time tried to do it. He'll probably have a very lame administration, and then the left gets back in, and off we keep marching into totalitarian nightmare land. I don't see how it doesn't become that, no matter who gets in at this point.